on the News Channel 5 network. This is OpenLine.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to OpenLine. I'm Carrie Sharp. So glad to be with you tonight, and really a great topic that I care a lot about. One of our nonprofits in town, probably my favorite nonprofit that I've learned a lot about in the last couple of years that I've been here, and I want to introduce you to our guest and introduce you to our topic tonight. We're talking about the Dismas House right here in Nashville. I have Gerald Brown, the CEO, with me. Steve, one of the clients. Thank you, gentlemen, for being here. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
You guys are doing incredible work in this community, and it's been going on for decades. But a really big kind of turn of the corner coming within the next year. But Gerald, if you would kind of give me the 10,000-foot view of what Dismas does.
Well, Dismas House helps men that are transitioning out of incarceration with housing and wraparound services to help them successfully transition back into society. That's the long and the short of what it is that we've been doing for 4 decades here in Nashville. So
does this qualify as a halfway house? I mean, people are familiar with that term.
Yeah, we like to call it a home. So halfway house, transitional housing, whatever you want to call it, we just really try to help men as soon as they transition out. So yes, technically halfway house.
But you guys really take a comprehensive and a little bit different approach to how you guys do things. Yeah,
we try to make sure that our program is similar to anyone's household. Our slogan is Dismas is family, and I'm sure Steve can attest to that. That anytime a guy comes into our household, we try to make them feel at home. We try to take the anxiety out of transitioning back into society. There's some unwritten norms from former incarcerated individuals that, hey, I'm going from one prison to another one. So we try to dispel those myths immediately upon arriving. There's no expectation. We're just really trying to meet them where they are and meet their basic needs first and foremost. And then from that standpoint, there's some other programming that happens along the way.
And this is a number that should get your attention here at home. If you're saying, what, does this really work or not? It does work. You guys have proven results.
Yeah.
When it comes to the success rate.
Our recidivism rate is 19%. The recidivism rate across the country is about 50%. So what that means is 1 out of 2 people that are incarcerated have been there before. As opposed to folks that go through our program, 8 out of 10 of them successfully transition back into society and don't go back to prison.
It's amazing, and it really makes a difference for everybody, whether you're connected directly to this program, have been a client or a supporter of Dismas. Having folks in and out of prison costs money.
Yes.
And when a taxpayer hears that, that should perk up your ear. So this is really helping reduce that cost burden on all of us. This is OpenLine. Our lines are always open. The number is at the bottom of the screen. If you would like to call, ask a question of Gerald about Dismas, how it works, how you can volunteer with Dismas, how you can support Dismas financially. Gerald can answer all those questions. If you have been a client there or a volunteer there and have a story to share, we would love to hear from you as well. The number 615-737+ is the number to call. Steve, I want to turn to you. You are a client there. You've been living there for about 90 days. You said a little bit more than that. Tell me a little bit about your story. How did you land at Dismas?
Got tired of being in and out of jail. Wanted to get my life together. Contacted 16 halfway houses. And after that, I was offered one. And the day I was offered that, I heard about Dismas House, so I turned it down. Because I wanted the ability to actually get out and do what everybody says Dismas can do, where other halfway houses aren't doing that. So when I got there, it was midnight. Denario, our case manager, actually stayed over work, went to the bus station to get me. There was miscommunication, so I took a cab to the house. So he still took time and stayed there till 1 o'clock in the morning to make sure I had everything I needed. Instead of going, hey, we can do it tomorrow, he made sure he took time away from his family to show me how you have a family.
Wow.
So
how did that make you feel on that first night?
Really good, really good. I mean, most of the times I got out of prison or jail, it was, okay, now what? And when I got there, that feeling wasn't there. They gave me a room, made sure I had clothes, food, wanted to know anything I needed. It was, hey, let's get this done. And then it was, okay, tomorrow we'll get more going. And every day there's something new for me there that's, a lot of people don't have that opportunity. So
you said you had turned down some other halfway houses because of the reputation of Dismas. What is the reputation?
Basically, their recidivist rate is so low that they have classes for you. They don't make you get out and go find a job the next day of being out. They actually told me, you can go get a job, but we prefer you don't for the first 90 days. Get yourself together, get back into society, get comfortable knowing you're not having to look over your shoulder, you're not having to stand up for a count. It's realize that you have something now.
That you are free, but there are still things that need to fall into place just personally before you get going, right? Gerald, talk to me about some of those barriers, because most of us don't know what it's like to walk out prison doors and back to freedom, back into society, which is really moving at a fast pace, very different from what you've experienced for you this last time for 4 years. What are the barriers people face from the get-go?
First and foremost, everyone is faced with a certain level of anxiety of, okay, what do I do now? Where do I go? What's coming up before them? So one of the big barriers is really getting that anxiety out of transitioning back into incarceration. I think people, general public really don't understand if you've, been incarcerated for 15, 20 years or 4 years in Steve's case. It's a transition just to not be incarcerated in the correctional facility anymore. So that's one huge hurdle for folks that are transitioning out of incarceration. The other one is really just meeting basic needs: hygiene products, food, a bed, clothing, and just having those bare essentials, those basic needs, is really important upon the first 72 hours. Studies show that about 60% of folks, if they don't have a stable environment to go into within the first 72 hours of release, they're potentially going to go back. So we really try to, that's when that home feel comes into place when people come into our program. And then from there, we really try to meet them where they are. What are their goals? We ask Steve, what do you want to do upon your release? What do you want to do in 90 days and 120 days? And we try to help them get there. And so that's why our program is really all inclusive on really helping our clients really transition back into society.
And when you say inclusive, what kind of programming things are we talking about? What do you guys cover?
Well, we have, as Steve mentioned, we have a case manager that works with our guys on a weekly basis in meeting their basic needs, whether it be getting bus passes, whether it be getting their clothing, whether it be getting their license back, all the different needs that Steve needs to transition back into society successfully. He works with them hand in hand on a weekly basis. Because
really sometimes you don't even know where to get your license back. Where do I go, and then how do I get there?
Yeah, especially for folks like Steve who aren't from Nashville. So we just really getting back into the community, a new community. It's like, okay, where do I go from here? Yeah,
because if you don't have that license, you can't apply for a job, right?
True,
you have no identification, and it's just one thing after another that can really be barriers that keep popping up in front of you.
Very true.
Where are you right now, Steve, with how you're progressing through the programming, what you're seeing in the weeks and months ahead?
I actually completed most of my stuff in a little over 30 days. Wow. Denario helped me get my Social Security card, my birth certificate, a picture ID. We're working on my license right now, getting it reinstated. Mr. Jail got me to go to a thing called Project Return, which I kind of fought off for a while. And then he didn't say, hey, you're gonna go. He says, well, I just think you should take it. When I finally did, after I completed it, about a week later, I had a job. They get you work clothes, work tools, things like that. So I'm pretty much on the way to having everything I need so I can enter society without the worry of going, man, how am I going to drive? How am I going to get to work? Because they make sure you got a bus pass. They make sure you know where you're going. They make sure you have a phone number to call if you need something. If you're out there, like I don't know where I'm going, so I would take the bus to look around, but Denario would say, hey, if you need me, you got my number. Right. And Mr. J.R. would make sure every day, so how you guys doing? They make sure you feel welcome at this house every day. And we have programming, and some of it you might not like, but
I like your honesty.
It's worth it. We take yoga, a lot of financial classes, which I need. Creative writing. We have a resident there that's spent some time away, so he don't know anything about a computer, so they brought people in to tutor him, which he wouldn't get nowhere else. Right. They're taking time to say, hey, we're going to find somebody for you, just for you. And he's loving it now. He's on the computer all the time going, hey, I know how to Facebook. Right. We have another resident that him and I have small business ventures we're doing, and we're being taught how to do it on the computers now. And through Dismas House, Mr. Gerald is helping us be able to get our products out there to people the right way. Instead of going, hey, I'm gonna go on the street corner and see if I can't sell a bracelet or a necklace, he says, no, this is how you communicate with people. So they're actually teaching us how to communicate in society on a positive manner.
I love it. We're going to take a quick break. So much more to discuss. I look forward to the next 50 minutes or so. Again, if you have any questions, comments, experiences with Dismas House, we'd love to hear from you. Numbers on the screen, 615-737+ is the number to call. We're coming back right after this.